Hello? Girl, what page are you on?
You guys do yourself a favor and go to the Sit Means Sit Westchester Instagram and look at our Valentine's Day post.
I
Just
saw it. You guys were adorable.
do yourself a
Oh
favor.
my God, with Toby and Ollie
Freya.
having
No,
the
that wasn't Ollie. That was Ollie's doppelganger, Freya.
oh,
Totally looked
I
like
was like,
Ollie.
go for it. Well, I guess they're kind of like boyfriends. But now knowing that it's not Ollie, because I mean, she looked just like Ollie.
She looks just like Ollie. Ollie and Freya were in puppy classes together growing up, and
Uh-huh.
we couldn't tell them apart when they were running around. The only difference is she's an Aussie, so she doesn't have a tail, and he does.
Aw,
So that's how we could tell them apart when they were babies.
that's funny
Fluff
though.
balls. They were so cute.
Adorable.
Hmm.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Eating the pasta. Gina says, "Don't put the nuggies away."
I loved Chris bringing out the water in like a Sprite bottle.
Yeah, it was so funny. It was so funny. And he like did, if you watch the video closely, he does like a little bow. And I'm like, I was like, you are so funny. That was like one of the most hilarious moments recording those videos.
Well,
Oh.
he did a good job. I was like, I'm sure because I feel like Chris isn't in too many of y'all's social media stuff. Like the girls really roll power to Lexi and Alexa and all them and you, Sam, because you always do the audio.
Yeah.
But Chris did a very good job. I thought he was very cute.
He is definitely, he had a fun time with it. He was like, should I hold this like a wine bottle? I was like, oh my God, this is so funny. And they got the little scarf and everything. It was so good. But you'll see more of him in our social media too, because he's got some cool stuff with his dog that he's getting ready to post. So it's cool stuff.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry, you guys.
What are you guys all having for dinner tonight?
Leftovers.
Chicken with Lowry seasoned salt
Oh
and
yeah.
what we call nudes, which are egg noodles, and a 6 pound can of green beans because Walmart thought it was okay to substitute my 6 cans of green beans for a 6 pound can of green beans. So in Walmart's defense, I have purchased that big can of green beans when we go camping because we're feeding like 15 people. So I get the big can and do like a pot boil thing. But yeah, but no, I wanted the 6 cans, not the 6 pound can.
Yeah,
So
6 cans of green beans over here.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like over New Year's we were joking and like we were gonna wrap up a 6 pound can of green beans for you for some reason. That's so funny. Walmart just took our idea and ran with it.
It was really funny because I used to give Ma such a hard time about buying the big can stuff, and now I'm stuck with one.
The ghost of green beans passed. You'll be prepped. Just make a casserole.
I thought about that, but then I'm like, how many people are really gonna eat? Like it's even then, I think you only use like two or three cans in a green bean casserole, right?
I don't
So this is
know.
still like 10 times that.
Well, I was talking about this with Bob G the other day. I was like, because we were talking about Easter and like what food we were gonna bring, because we have to plan this far ahead. And I was like, some things just should not be casseroled. And that's like most things. I like tuna casserole. Like I
Oh, I
cannot.
love tuna
I know.
casserole. I
It's so
hate
funny.
green bean casserole. Hate it.
It's so funny because I was like, I'm pretty sure Ash like really likes tuna casserole.
Well, here's it. I married a man who hated tuna. Like he was like force-fed tuna as a kid. And when we got married, he refused to eat it, and I made tuna casserole, and now it's like, yeah, he can eat it, no problem. He actually is eat. The army has changed this man for in different ways. Like he can eat tuna out of a bag, like straight. I cannot do the bag tuna. I think it's too moist.
Oh,
Like
I
it's just
love the bag. The little like Star Kiss cream.
yeah.
I love those. No, you have to put it on an avocado. Like cut an avocado in half and put it with that. It's so good. That's my like snack. My favorite. Not my favorite snack. My favorite
I
snack is
love
chips.
avocados.
You can just drain some of the water out of it, though.
It's not like that. The canned ones aren't really like they're kind of like
It's
in there.
I get
Or
what she
those
means
bag ones.
though. Cause like I get like I mean it's still a little soggy because I'll get the bag ones, but I'll like put up tear the bottom just a little bit and then squeeze some of the water out. But then, I mean like that's not that bad.
This is a very random topic. Why are we talking about
Squirrel.
tuna? Crunchitize me, Captain.
Oh my gosh, it's such a throwback. All right. Welcome back, everybody, to Girl, What Page You On? I am Ashley, Speed Reader Par. I am co-hosted by Samantha here for the Spice Shariah and Kayla here for the History Collins. We are covering Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, chapters 41 through 50.
And spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Um, if you have not gotten this far in the book, stop, go finish the book, or at least those episodes or those chapters. Watch the previous episodes and come back. But now on to battle brief.
So, here is your battle brief where we will be recapping everything from chapters 41 to 50. We pick up with the Irids talking to Violet, which totally throws her off because dragons typically only communicate with their bonded. And Darna launches into story time about how she came to be and how they arrived here. The dragons convene and come back stating that Violet used Andarna and that she was left behind as a test to see if humans could ever evolve for peace, and they failed. This was just absolutely heartbreaking, and Darna's family rejects her. However, one Feathertail stays behind to chat some more, but Xaden shows up with bright red irises and terrible fucking timing. The Irid leaves, and now the secret is out. Violet tells Riddick the whole truth about Xaden, and then he promises he won't tell everyone if Violet has a logical point of no return and if they tell Rhee, Sawyer, and Jacinia. They return to Basgiath and have a literal group hug before Atos interrupts with a missive from none other than Theophany, who obviously knew their moves. Atos also tells them that Queen Myra is dead after Dark Wielders took over Suniva. They all somehow go back to class. They get to a battle brief with Devra and find out that 12 Venin and 12 Wyvern caused the downfall of Sunvia by burning it down. They tell Jacinia, Rhee, and Sawyer about Xaden's conundrum. Violet has more Venin dreams of Drythus falling and the sage who is dead calling to Violet. The team join Kaori and Xaden for flight and signet sparring, and they learn a running, landing, and takeoff to minimize time on the ground while in battle with the Venin. Taryn and Vi get their idea for how they're going to do this maneuver from her first year when she kept falling off of him. Felix brings missives from Orisha saying that 2 Wyvern came through the wards and are surviving longer and longer every time they break through those wards. We find out that Xaden is going to start taking Paromish citizens to the utter disapproval of the royals, Halden and the Duke of Chaldeer. Go Xaden. And Lynx manifests shadows. Sawyer attempts to do his running mount on his dragon with a new prosthetic leg that he made. He makes it, and then the team heads for Orisha. Brennan finds Violet and tells her that Xaden is trying to mend, which gives her hope that he has not given up. Xaden arrives from Llewellyn, and oh boy, Shadow Zaddy is living up to his nickname. We get 2 whole chapters of just pure 5-star spicy. We also then get a Xaden dream. No, wait. it's a Violet dream. No, wait, it's actually a Xaden dream, and we find out that Violet has manifested a second signet of dream walking. More on that later, because at the end of chapter 50, Basgiath falls under attack. And that concludes your battle brief.
Dun dun dun.
What were your thoughts when reading these chapters?
And Darna's family sucks. Emotional trauma. That's all I got for that. And Riddick, of course, being our boy that we love so much, always for being the comic relief, he really is so smart. And he's like, you have to have a cutoff point. Like you have to be logical. Like you are a logical person. You have to be logical here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fuck the Feathertails. That's all I'm gonna say. That's how I felt this whole time. That and we get Xaden is broody again because he knows he messed up that deal or that potential conversation with them. If he didn't show up with his venom traits, those dragons might have stayed longer and heard Andarna out a little more. So that was really tough to watch. And he kind of goes back into broody town. Ash
Which
Ash without your spoilers. What were your feelings? What did you remember feeling when
I
that?
was like, I understand being a pacifist and that being the Irids, that being their way, but to accuse Violet of um just disfiguring Andarna is how they were putting it, of like, oh, she has this tail stuff. I'm like, no, Violet like had nothing to do with that. Andarna is extremely independent, even if she's a youngling. She, looked to her elder, who somebody she looked, and looked at Taryn, looked at Segale, and those were the people that was around. It had nothing to do with, vines. So I really did not like the Irid when we met them. I'm like, how dare you? You can't be a pacifist and then turn around and demean other people for trying to survive. Sorry, that's not how that works. That's not fair nor right. So,
Yeah,
and talking about judging by a book by its cover, they're terrible at it.
that's literally a
let's
quote
get
I
into
have.
this because I know Kayla, you have some very serious thoughts about this as well.
So to quote Andarna first and foremost was, you preach peace, but you only know it's privilege. And I'm like, mic drop, because this little teen knows exactly what she's talking about. Um, like when you left an egg, you left a child by herself with no other leadership or anything. So that's on them. That pissed me off. Like you literally abandoned a child and then you criticized her for how she was raised because that was the atmosphere. I didn't see them stepping in and trying to change dragonkind. They are selfish. Sorry, I need to calm down. This is going back to my real. I need to be calm. I'm an adult. But no, I just hated that because she's a child and you left. You didn't help. You are so selfish that you want to blame everything on humankind. No, 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 no. Also, when I was reading the part where Xanon walks up, I had it more like Xanon was walking up, and then as he was standing there, he started turning venom. And I was
Yes.
wondering if that was because of the Irids being there and their power flowing. Like it's like a black light. Is kind of how I, for some reason, I imagine it. It's like they shined a black light and he glue or glowed. He glued.
He glued.
But that's how I imagine that. And then I also think, because I know I harp on Xaden a lot, but I feel like he has tried and he would not be here if he was like the other Venom. And they didn't want to hear it. They're like, there is no cure. Um, so yeah, I have so many emotions, and a lot of them are very angry.
It's funny that you mention that it was like Zayden was sitting there and then there's a glimmer over his eye that kind of reveals the irises being red because that's how I read it at first as well. And I was like, no, that can't be right. But I do okay, it's not just me. So that I'm glad I'm not the only person who was like, hold on. Because I don't think they mention him channeling when they were out searching either. I don't, maybe they do later, but I don't recall. But that is so interesting that they maybe like kind of were able to see his truth there. Um, I also thought it was really cute how Andarna is just so proud of herself. She's like, I chose this human to bond me. And there's a part where she's like, and so I flew into the battle. And she pounces up on all fours, like telling them about her story and what was going on. And they were really disappointed in like every choice she made. So it's just heartbreaking because I feel like anyone can relate to this where you're so proud of something or you've accomplished something and, you know, you have someone who just kind of like looks down on you for absolutely no reason. And no matter what you do, they're just not going to see the value that you bring. And it's just heartbreaking because Andarna is young and impressionable. And when you're young and impressionable, people can really tear you down until you get that self-confidence, right? And it gutted me reading this for her.
I just
Um,
realized
mhm.
that the Irids remind me of Halden, actually, where they are very self-centered and well, you were our last hope. Like, nope, you don't get no skin in this game, bitch. I'm sorry. I'm not even a mom, and like I'm already like fuming. You left a child. You were irresponsible, and you want to sit there and pretend like you can change. Like it's humans that are the issue, but that's something that's in all of them, and you can see that with the bonding of who the dragons bond with, like Jack Barlow, for instance, or for Varish, for a better one. Like you don't like humans don't control the dragons. Dragons
Right.
have their own thing. They bond with humans, yes, but like that's a give and take kind of thing.
I
Yeah.
just I just hated the fact that they're like, you're our last hope. No, you're up in a walk. You are still living, breathing, walking around. So why aren't you creating the hope that you are looking for? Why are you putting it on the shoulders of a hatchling? You're supposed to be this wise, calm, peace-seeking individual. Why aren't you doing anything to obtain that peace for others?
Right.
Like
And
I
like you
just,
were
yeah.
saying, I like we were saying before, like you can be a pacifist and that can be really admirable, but you can't be a pacifist while you're just letting a baby of your species kind of go off and like, okay, well, if you don't make it, then I guess that's it. Like they're not listening at all. Linda, you're not listening. They're not listening to anything they have to say, and it's like they already have their mind made up. And yeah, I think that quote that you had said before too, Kayla, was you just nailed it. Like you don't get to preach for peace if you're not helping to attain it either, right? Like
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong like being a pacifist is great. Like but there are still ways to fight for what you believe in if you still don't want to go to war, right?
Mhm.
So it was just I'm with you all on this. It was just so frustrating to watch. And for me, it's just devastating being rejected without being listened to or heard out.
Yeah. And I have to give full points again to our boy Riddick for like again, he's the comic relief. We know this, especially from Instagram and from everything else, but everybody loves Riddick because he knows when to be serious and when he gives Violet a look and he's like, we're talking now. And they go off and they're chatting and stuff like that. Um, he straight snaps at her and says, "I've read every book that you have read. I like just because I make jokes doesn't mean that I'm not smart." And like I was like that, and that was something that I said before. I was like, he's my spirit character because comic relief and everything. Um, but he's like, you need to be rational. He's like, you are smarter than this. You are going to be the head scribe, is what your dad was teaching you to be. Like, you are smarter than this. And he pretty much is like, where's your line? Where's your line? Because you have to have one. Like it to kind of actually, this just popped in my head, but with the film, it ends with us. Like, where is your line when you're going to stop taking abuse and stop be like no being in a situation that's bad for you and for those around you? And he straight calls her out. He's like, what if Zayden kills your sister? What if Zayden kills Andarna? What if he comes in and he has a fit and he drains all of us? He's like, where is your line? Because as we know, it stopped, her phrase stopped being I will not die today to I will save him. Where is her line on
Yeah.
saving him? And
Yeah.
I get it. It's hard to like put a line on the one that you love, that's your soulmate, your best friend. But again, Riddick being the voice of reason.
Yeah, I loved their conversation. And like Riddick is also just like, dude, wake up. You love him, but he's Venom. Like he's going to turn. And we know that Zayden from previous chapters, we know Zayden also is expecting to turn. He doesn't think there's a cure. I also I really love that he was like, I'm speaking with you and you alone. And Zayden can go kick rocks for a minute. He wanted to make sure that he got his time with Violet to really make sure that she was thinking clearly through this and thinking logically. And I really appreciate him for that. And I thought it was really funny how he promised to her that he would not tell anyone if she had that line. And then Zayden joins the conversation and he flips the script and is like, I'm gonna tell everyone. We have to tell Rhys, Sawyer, and Jacinia they deserve to know because they're looking for the cure and they deserve to know why. And Violet's kind of like, hold on, we didn't talk about that. He's like, no, no, you and I made a different deal. He and I are making this deal. I was like, go Riddick, go Riddick, go. It was amazing. Um,
Yeah, I love that. And especially when he's got his arm around her and he's like, well, this is a predicament. He's like, if I remove my arm, it makes it look like we did something. But if I don't, then I still am going to be judged.
well,
um,
it's really funny because he angered Violet, or Violet was frustrated during this conversation, so she released a lightning strike. So he's like, I just want you to know that. And Zayden's like, no, 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 dude. I trust her. I know. I know nothing happened. He's like, I just pissed her off. That's all.
yeah, that was a great scene. And again, Riddick, just because someone's a comic relief does not mean that they don't know what shit's going down or that they're smart. Um, but when we get to battle brief after they get back, um, I loved when Professor Devereaux was like, and now let me welcome our two guests. May you be it or may you be uncomfortable, or what was it? I have an exact note.
Make yourself
Um
as uncomfortable as
it,
right?
yeah, it's announces that they have two special guests in the class, and she tells them to make themselves as uncomfortable as possible. And I was like, I got that.
It was very cute. So
So
in Battle Brief, they find out that Sunvia has fallen, and that is where oh gosh, what's her name? The
The
Queen, right? That's where the Queen of
yeah,
Navarre. Is it the Queen of
Cat's
Navarre?
sister or Cat's cousin or something who
yeah,
was queen.
Yeah,
yeah, Kat's cousin. Oh goodness.
Myra, Mayara.
I think Myra. I think you're something like that.
Okay, yeah. I don't know how it's her name's pronounced, but we find that her city falls. Kat is just taking hit after hit these past few sections of this book. Um, and Devra is essentially telling them the city has fallen with just 12 Wyvern and 12 Venom attacking, showing exactly how freaking powerful they are and how serious of a threat that they are going to be. And then during Battle Brief, they kind of uncover there was a shipment of alloy daggers, and the Venom knew about it, which means there is a traitor in our midst. And my question to you is, who is on your Venom watch or your traitor
Obviously,
watch, and why?
obviously Jack Barlow's up there, but we know he's sitting in a cell, barely alive. But all I have to say is that Snitch is about to get stitches.
How that's what I also immediately thought Jack Barlow, but how would he have gotten that information out? Like, are they connected? Are the Venom connected?
My first instinct is to who hung out with Jack? Who is the people around Jack before? That's my first response,
Mm.
an instinct move. Um, but we know Theophany, I had it right the first time. Um, we know that she's been in and out. So it almost makes me wonder if there's some secret entrance and she's just waltzing through when she wants. Because she obviously can blend in very easily in the night.
Right. And we know. Hold on. Oh my gosh, this happens to me every freaking time we talk. But I have this like light bulb moment. I feel like I need a little like bing. Um, okay, hold on. Let's go back. Obviously, we've already talked about in our battle brief that Violet's second signet is dreamwalking. We also know Theophany has what does she wield? Lightning.
Lightning.
Do we think?
Does
Yeah,
Theophany
dude.
have the same thing?
That's what I'm saying.
No, well, she
M-
can't. She can't have a second signet because she's
Why
getting the
not?
dream walking, which I don't think is just dream walking. I think it's still that
Inception. You
whatever.
think it's Inception?
I think it's I don't know what that means. Um, the Jean Grey thing. Ash. Ash is just like
Well,
no.
well, no, I'm going to bring up something that I have brought up in the other two books. It's all about balance, right?
Right.
So somebody now manifesting shadows.
Lynx.
Xaden has gone to the dark side. The good side needs balance. So now we have another shadow wielder. So we're balancing, right? So I just assumed this, but once that popped up, I was like, okay, so there is a balance. If there is a lightning wielder, there has to be another lightning wielder.
When
If
did it
there's
become Star Wars?
if well,
Seriously, right?
but that's how I saw that moment of like, okay, so balance. So,
Wh-
but I also think Theophany could not walk around without being noticed because of her hair.
Right.
Yeah, but
Because
if she's in the scribe thing, she wears a veil. She covers
we'll
her head.
see who do we know who has a bunch of in on the scribe.
Oh,
And sitting here,
Markham?
I was thinking a little
Atos.
closer to no, a little closer to home.
Justinia?
Justinia? You think just no, Justinia can't be.
I'm just sitting here and I'm like,
No.
we're talking about scribes. I'm like, who's a scribe who's been in on everything right now?
But it's Justinia. Like she can't
Justinia
overhear
telling
conversations. She has to sign everything.
But I also think back to her Violet's dreams and them coming back.
Well,
And
that's what I'm saying.
I'm like wondering if it's the spy's dreams.
I hold the fuck on. Wait. So wait, we talk you. Oh my God. No, no. It's not.
Not Justinia.
No, it's not Justinia. Ash, I hope you're just trying to throw us off the scent here. I will be so mad. Um,
Or if she's giving us a big ass spoiler right now, I'm gonna bitch slap her when
No,
I see
I
her.
I
I'm gonna
guarantee
give
you
you
I'm
a
not gonna.
Dane slap.
Well, no, it's like I've read through this. I've had time to cook on some of this stuff
yeah.
where
So wait,
I'm
I
like
think
looking and I'm like, wait a minute. We keep saying scribes that she could come in as a scribe in pop with the possibility, like, and we know that Venom can hide, like, be in plain sight.
here's what I think. We talk about balance. We know that Theophany can wield lightning. Theophany has the same hair as Violet. There's a connection there, and we've already connected Violet to the Temple of Dune. So I think there's a connection there for Theophany as well. Theophany's on the dark side. She's a dark wielder. She wields lightning. Who's to say she doesn't also wield dreamwalking? And who's to say that Violet isn't balancing both lightning wielding and dreamwalking? And because Theophany can dreamwalk, she can use anyone as a traitor without them knowing. So that's my current theory on how she's finding things out. I definitely think there are people. I think Carr. I think Carr is definitely up there for potentially being a traitor. But I think that maybe Theophany has another signet because we didn't even know Venom could have signets until she wielded lightning in the beginning of the book.
I just have a hard time thinking that she does because she, well, I guess they're not bound by the power of dragons, but it still would seem weird if, because there's only one dark source. And the reason why, well, I guess that doesn't make sense for the,
Well, your signet is a manifestation of yourself.
yeah. And
And
I'm
you
gonna
get your
say that
signet
that's null and
through.
void for the rebellic kids that have their ancestors dragons. So I'm gonna say, well, there's no second power source, but that doesn't matter again because the
Relics.
yeah, the relics, unless their second power is pulling from the relic.
That's what I kind of thought.
Yeah, I think we talked about that a while back. It's like I
Yeah.
kind of suspected that the relic itself was a power source or like had some kind of wizarding power.
Wait.
um,
So if do all the Venom have? We talked about this a little bit, but it's worth going back and revisiting. Do we think all the Venom have a signet, or do we think if you had a signet before you turn Venom, then you keep the signet?
I think it's the latter. I think if
Yeah.
you had a signet when you turned, you got the signet because there's that one kid in class that did not have a signet and they were trying so hard to get it to pull forward that they actually pulled from the source and then they turned Venom right there. So,
I forgot about that.
so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we have so many, but so many so many possibilities. If it's just Cinia, I have a hard time thinking it's her just because she seems so pure.
Well, I think
But but if there's like if you're a scribe and your whole thing is wanting knowledge, like maybe she believes if you pull from the source, you get that knowledge of what it's like to pull from the source, and maybe she's turning Venom. Or maybe you don't have to turn Venom to be on the Venom side. Like maybe she read some piece of history and it's just like, you know what? Fuck Navarre. We need to just get this shit cleared out. That's a far reach for me.
or
Um,
you are so desperate to not be Venom, you're willing to do anything to find a cure and to help other Venom. Zayden didn't turn Venom intentionally. That could be the same for a lot of
The
them.
Xavier complex.
Well, that's what I like go back to. I'm like, you can clearly you can have a signet without needing a dragon. I
Hmm.
mean, that's what we're under the assumption with Theophany.
Yeah, but she's pulling from the
So,
source, and the reason why you get a signet is because you pull power from a dragon. So she's still pulling magic regardless.
but
No,
she
but
did it
the
without,
Griffin
but I'm going
Riders.
back to dragons being controlling and humans. I still, as much as I love, Taryn and Seagal and our dragon brethren, I am still not sold that there isn't some manipulation happening with the Empyrean. I just
Epiphany.
do not trust them.
I have an epiphany. What if Theophany is the original lightning wielder from before? Because she said she's been around for a long time. And she said
Ooh.
something about mortal. What if she was the original lightning wielder? And then she pulled from the source and became Venom.
Yeah.
So this is why I want to know who was the last person to wield lightning, and if it is a woman from whatever time ago, I bet you it's her. I bet you it's her. Um, and I still want to know how old she is.
How dare you?
Woman never
Rude.
gives her age.
Do we think Ash actually asked this question in our prep, our pod prep, but do we think that battle brief will continue if we know that there are spies? Like, how much information do you think they're willing to leak or not?
I think
Or
they
do
go
you think
back
they're
to the way
already
they did before.
manipulating battle brief to see who is the spy, actually?
That would be the smarter thing to do, but since they announced that they know that there is a spy, I think that they're more or less going to limit everything. They're only going to speak in theoreticals and history. I doubt that they're going to start actually giving moving pieces, you know?
Do you think that they already had an idea that there was a spy back in the other books when they started manipulating Battle Brief?
No, I
They're
think
not
that
sharing
that was them
everything?
manipulating it just in general. Like they didn't want to have
The knowledge
everybody
of
knowing about the
Venom.
venom, like yeah, because they wiped it from everything. So I think that that was more just them controlling the situation, and now they need to control the situation, and they're kind of up shit creek because they already pulled that stall once. So I don't know. But our spicy scenes,
Mm.
2 full chapters. And I'm giving a shout out to Elise Myers. I know that we all follow her. She has a video, and I just want to say she is definitely my spirit sister in this because she's talking about how she listens to audiobooks much like I do, and how when she gets to it, it's just like embarrassing. Like she's like, I can't listen. It's just like, oh. Like trying to like she can't envision it. Like if you haven't seen it, you have to look up. Um, but Elise Myers, she for anybody who doesn't know her, which if you don't, it's crazy. But she's got dark hair, it's curly, and she's the one that just like says everything that we think day to day, like in our lives. And she has amazing singing voice. And if she watches this, you looked amazing at the Grammys.
Yeah, she did look amazing. She's so funny. She's like, she leans into being awkward, and we all have those awkward moments. I do love her account. Her account is hilarious. How did you all feel? What was the blush effect of these chapters? Because I was on the train reading them and I was like, here we go.
I was driving, and all that popped in my head was when I come to a stoplight, I need to make sure the volume is turned down.
Yeah,
um,
I feel that so hard, like listening to audiobooks. I didn't listen to this on audiobook. I read it, but yeah, like I drive up to the gate and I like have to pause or turn off my stereo in case it automatically pops up to a spicy scene.
I can only imagine pulling it to a military gate and just like hearing, and then he thrust himself inside her, like
Well,
just
it's
like
worse. It's so much worse because they have students that monitor the gate some days. So, like, these are like fresh 18-year-olds. And here comes a senior spouse driving up listening to smut, dime store smut.
These chapters were probably the best spice scenes that we've gotten in the whole series. Chapters 48 and 49, like, I don't know if you agree. I mean, other than like the my house, my chair, my woman, like that's just a line. That was a line. She wanted us to have that line. She wanted us to put that on stickers and on t-shirts and all that stuff, which is fantastic. I love that. But these were good scenes. These
would
were
you
so
say
good.
would you say it gave you two
Nick, when you
dimes to rub
find out
together?
what?
I said, would you say it gave you two dimes to rub together? Since there's two chapters, literally the whole, what was it, 48 or 49? The entire chapter was nothing but smut. And like, let's do it here. Let me turn you over. Let's try this and let's try that. And
It was
I kept going, eh, because I just got to the point where I was like, I was time, not like that.
You could go on eat, 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 eat. For people just listening, I just imagine what Kayla was. I'm not going to describe how innocent she actually was.
That was me pushing the skip 15 seconds, skip 15 seconds, skip 15 seconds on my audiobooks. I was like, I don't really care right now. The first few like pages, I was like, okay, oh, finally, like get out that tension, get all that out. Congratulations on your 73 days non-venomized. So proud of you. Let's move forward. But then at the end, when they found out about the dreams and like Violet wakes up from the dreams and Zayden's still in his dream living it. And then them realizing that she can dream walk and then running to Kat's sister and being like, was this you? And she's like, that used to be my nightmare. And
Yeah, the
then
nightmare that she had when she was like in the house that was burning and she was
mhm.
looking for a book and in the dream she was like it was Kat's a picture of Kat's family like and I was screaming for Kat to save her. Remember we were
Yeah.
so confused. We were like what is happening and is it a future thing? But now yeah, like Marin confirmed and showed her the portrait.
Yeah. So I definitely can see that if Nafi has, I'm so sorry, everybody. Um, if she does have a dream walking thing, that definitely could help her, especially if she knows that she has the ability. Imagine if she can control it. Um,
Right.
because we also know that Violet was reading Zayden's dreams from hundreds of miles away.
Right. And we also know that the longer you have a signet, the more honed it becomes, right? So, like you're saying, if she's been able to control it and choose what dreams she finds and sees, can she also control people's decisions, like Inception, like the movie? Um, can she also control how they feel in their dreams? Can she put her manipulation on it? Like, is she just finding out information, or is she kind of putting the idea in their head to maybe do things and manipulate their actual actions in the real world? Like anything like that.
Yeah, very true. Was anybody else confused on who the hell Lynx was? Because I was like, did I miss him? Where has he been?
I think
Um,
he just snuck in. I don't remember him from the earlier, but or maybe he was there and I just didn't pay any attention. And then the same thing with like Llewellyn.
I think Luann's
We
a
know
place.
Llewellyn is Xaden's like guy, but is it a place? Is it a person? I don't know.
I kind of took it as a place, but maybe now I'm second guessing that. But I was like, who the hell's Lynx?
Well, whoever he is, he's gonna be important, I think, in the future. Since he manifests shadows now.
Yeah, I
No,
did
he's a
like,
first year. He's
yeah,
a
he's,
first year. That's why we didn't have him in other books.
yeah, but I feel like we would have gotten some introduction to him with Varish. Yeah, yeah, me the. Oh, I'm sorry.
We need a little backstory. I don't know what happened.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, I
well,
just
I'm sure as the plot thickens, we'll have more and more characters that will be like, huh? Let's, we'll figure it. Speaking of him manifesting shadows, and I know we already talked a little bit about Violet's second signet, but when you found out she was a dream walker, how did you feel? We did not guess this at all. This was not anything. I was thinking maybe she talks to ghosts, right? I think that was some of our past theories. But her being a dream walker, what does it mean? How do we feel? And go.
I'm still sticking to my guns that this is only part of her signet. I still think that she is an intrinsic. But I think there's multifacets to the intrinsic stuff because technically Zayden's an intrinsic because he can read people's intentions.
Hmm.
And we know that she has pushed her thoughts onto Zayden before, unless Zayden's growing his second signet, which I'm pretty sure it's pretty manifested at this point.
Yeah. And when they were talking at the beginning of this section, when they were talking to the Irids about they were one of them said, and you've given her a powerful, right? They made some comment about, and you've gifted her something very dangerous. So, like telling Andarna, you gave her this power, and which obviously isn't her fault. But so I think that this is gonna, I don't know if there's more to it or like how will this develop? Will it develop into something like we were saying where she can manipulate people's thoughts through their dreams without them knowing, or just can she just observe? Like, I feel like there's a lot left. Like, I think you're right. I think like this isn't the only, this isn't it.
Yeah, it just reads particularly that whole scene. There's so much. I almost feel like we could have dedicated an entire video just to nitpicking everything that the um Irid said. But you're right. I think like, and that's another thing that kind of reinforces my gut feeling. Um, that there just has to be. And knowing that is like, I wish we get more. I want more. Why didn't I
I
get more?
am I the only one who thought of Dane and reading memories? Violet's just reading your worst nightmares. Tell me that you can't use that against people.
Yeah, but
Oh.
she's right now she's doing it by accident. And it seems to be other than Zayden, which we think that the reason why she was able to read Zayden's so far away was because of the bond. Where she was able to do it before was pretty much sleeping next to each other. What so yeah, it's a whirlwind with all of
Do we
them.
think because being intrinsic means it's a death sentence in Navarre? Do we think that once her friends find out, they're gonna be like, whoa,
Have you been in my thoughts? And well, I think
right?
that they've taken the Zayden Venom thing very well.
Yeah,
And I would hope that they would take the intrinsic stuff very well.
yeah, yeah. I think they've taken the Zeta and Venom stuff as well as they can. They were really mad at Violet for not telling them another secret. They thought that this was secrets are so book two. Um, so I think I think they've been through enough at this point where they can respect Violet keeping it a secret to a certain extent, and this is the time that it should come out.
So something just popped in my head about what Ashley just said about Dane. Dane's technically a part of Intrinsic. Why is it okay for Dane to be around, but not Zayden's power to be around? because he's just reading intentions. He's not reading your mind. He's reading your intentions. So why would Zayden's second signet be so not okay, but yet Dane's power is okay?
I would assume because Dane has to touch you and Zayden just has to be near you. But also, what's more dangerous than knowing the intention of your enemy?
Yeah, but I mean, Dane can find out their intentions just by reading their thoughts and touching them. Like he could just act like he could.
It's not
Zayden
reading,
has to be close by to read the intention. And if Dane passed you in the hall and he brushed your hand, he could read all of it.
Relate. It's just your last memory, though.
yeah, it's a
No, it's
memory.
not because Dane pulled he pulled everything from her.
Right. He's pulling memories, not thoughts, right? He's pulling like this is what you saw during that time. Is
Which
kind of how
is
I, right? Is kind of how
Yeah.
maybe that's why they're not really scared of it because he's pulling what happened from you, like downloading the memory chip. He's
so your
not
dreams are part of your night or your memories. So if you had a
potential.
nightmare,
Yeah, it's like the same. I see what you mean. But I think that Dane can't manipulate your thoughts. And I think that's why neither can Zayden, but I think that's why they
Not
don't allow
yet.
Intrinsic. And remember that kid in the first year who developed Intrinsic and he can hear people's thoughts,
yeah. That one I
right?
understand.
It like literally it drove him crazy. And that's why they killed him. So I think that kind of intensity is like why they're like, now we're not dealing with this.
Maybe Zayden, maybe they've already seen the intentions and have seen how the signet grows. And maybe he does, we know signets grow. So maybe it's going to grow into more of, I can enforce my will over you then. I can put my
Ooh.
intentions onto you, which would be
Damn.
very dangerous over with
A
somebody
venom.
who's a venom.
Ooh.
Yeah. I didn't.
Good point.
Damn.
Um, but I just lost my train of thought. But it had something to do with just what what is everybody going to do kind of thing during this next battle? Like they
Right.
said it's 12, is it 12 wyvern that are coming or
No,
there's
so the
12.
12 was from who attacked Sunvia. And so knowing that so few can attack and be successful is like actually horrifying. Because eventually what they're doing is they're sending Wyvern through the wards at Arisha because we know the wards are slightly broken because they have only is it six or seventh? The seventh breed is the feathertails, the Irids, right? So
Mhm.
because the wards at Orisha have been fired with only six dragons, they're slightly altered, meaning the venom can channel and the wyvern can survive in them. So it seems like they're just like sending them and throwing them through just to see how far they can get, right? And so finally it seems like the wyvern have gotten or they figured out like how to ruin the wyvern to make them survive. I have no idea how the venom are doing it, but they're like, but that's what they're doing. They're testing them. They're just seeing which ones will survive to
It's
get
Jurassic Park.
to Ryerson, and that's where we are. We don't know how many are coming.
It's
Well, we
just like Jurassic
still,
Park, guys.
let me
When
point out, Kayla, let me point out, we still don't know what ruins they erased at the beginning of when the
oh
Right,
war
on the Wardstone.
began. Sorry, Kayla, I didn't mean to interrupt
oh
you.
no, I was interrupting Sam because all I thought when she was like just throwing them through and testing the words, like all I thought of was in Jurassic Park when the raptor guy is like, oh, they were testing the thing or testing the fences and discovered the. And I was like, oh, they're like raptors. I mean, but what is a wyvern except a raptor without or with wings?
It's a velociraptor with wings.
That's what a wyvern is.
It's so funny. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think that coming up, We'll have the battle scene. We'll see how that goes. And I think too that the Wyvern and Venom are probably because they mentioned earlier in Battle Brief too. I was just thinking about this. They mentioned that they're kind of like positioning themselves around the wards of Navarre as well. So Violet's like, oh my God, they're testing us in Orisha, and they're gonna see like if the wards fall in Navarre, they're just ready to go. So. We shall see what happens next. There's gonna be a lot. I think that we're in the official home stretch. I think we're in the official like we always joke with Sarah J. Maas books and Rebecca Yarros books. The last 100 pages are like where all of the craziness happens. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to put this down.
Yeah, it's gonna be really, really hard. But we gotta keep to it because the last 8 chapters, when we do those, we're going to nitpick the shit out of them.
Mhm. Mhm. Did we have anything else that we wanted to cover?
No, but all I have to say is when in doubt, bring broccoli out.